Welcome to Elevate Pod, where we elevate your mindset, inspire your spirit, and ignite your leadership journey. This podcast is brought to you by Elevate Leadership Services. My name is Pearl.
And I'm Chipwechungu.
We are the co-founders of Elevate Leadership Services and the hosts of Elevate Pod. The Elevate Pod is dedicated to inspiring and empowering listeners with a focus on minorities and immigrants. We offer valuable tools, resources, and pathways to foster personal and professional growth.
Thank you, Pearl. And today we have Valeria Watcher, who is going to really entertain us and maybe give us a lot of information on the journey that she has led, the experiences, our insights, our thoughts on career choice as the leadership decision. You know, your career is not just what you do. It is who you're becoming every day. It is your career. What if your career isn't just a job, but your first leadership decision? Before titles, before promotions, before influence, there is a choice that quietly shapes your voice, your impact, and your legacy. And today, we explore how choosing your path is not just about making a living. It's about making a difference in how you lead and how you serve. Before we venture into the conversation that we're going to have with Valeria, I would like to go through a brief description of her rich bio that she shared with us. Valeria Watcher is a manager of strategic partnership and engagement at the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, abbreviated as CFIA in Canada, where she leads intergovernmental collaboration and stakeholder engagement on program, policy, and regulatory issues related to food safety, plant and animal health, and emergency management. She has extensive experience across the Government of Canada, including senior policy roles at Public Safety Canada. In these roles, she has supported senior level decision making, providing strategic advice and supporting senior officials' engagement with federal, provincial, territorial partners and with industry. Valeria has a strong track record of leading national consultations, coordinating high-level governance tables, and building partnerships across governments, academia, and the civil society. She holds a master's degree in geography, specializing in emergency management from the University of Manitoba, and she has taught university-level courses in emergency management and international development. She's also a recipient of the Prime Minister's Public Service Award for Policy Excellence and multiple CFIA awards for excellence. Besides these accolades, Valeria is a mother and a wonderful one to 2 sons and a terrific wife to Paul. So Valeria, can you add something to this short bio that I have provided?
Thank you. Those are wonderful opening words. And I'm realizing for the first time that my grandson is not reflected on my bio.
Oh, I am so sorry. No, I'm your grandson. I think you can talk about your grandson. Maybe you can include the grandson here. Include him.
I'm going to have to add my grandson on my bio.
Wonderful. Yes, I see that.
Yeah, my young man is, he is now 7 months old.
Wow.
Started crawling last week. He's a wonderful, wonderful baby.
Wonderful.
It's a great life stage.
Wonderful.
To have a grandchild.
Excellent.
I can tell you that much.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Excellent.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Grandma. Sorry,
Yay!
you don't fit. No, wonderful. Thank you so much for
Ah,
including him, because if he listened to this one without you including him, I think you will not be very happy. So, Grandma, thank you. And what's his name?
his name is Ambrose.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Ambrose Kwekukuntu.
Ambrose, thank you for making her
Kwekukuntu.
the
Yeah,
grandma.
lovely young man.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So, were you expecting that I'm a grandma already?
No, but good job redeeming yourself and adding him there. Now I know some extra information about you. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. No, wonderful. Thank you. Over to you, Pearl.
All right. Leadership is not found at the top. It is revealed in the choices you make along the way. Leadership doesn't begin when someone gives you authority. It begins the moment you decide who you are and what you stand for. Your career is not accidental, but you build it with direction. And every direction you take is a vote for the leader you're becoming. So let's dive in. As you reflect on your journey today, in what ways do you now see your career choice as a leadership decision? How did that choice begin shaping your voice, your confidence, and sense of responsibility even before you had a formal title?
I appreciate the question, but I'm going to start by answering it like this. I consider myself to be an extraordinarily privileged person. I grew up in Zambia at a time when the liberation struggles were cutting across the continent. And that transition, which for me happened in Zambia, from my parents who grew up under colonialism to having the opportunity to grow up in Zambia where my parents could fulfill their sense of dignity and identity, which they would not have had in the then Rhodesia, that already set me up for success and leadership. With that privilege also comes the privilege of having parents who were educated. At that time, not many African people would have had the opportunity to have an education. So I live a life of privilege, and I always remind myself to be grateful for that privilege that I was given, because not everybody starts with those kinds of blessings and gifts in life. I don't take it for granted.
Amen.
So those things shape me because they were instilled in me by my parents. So leadership decisions for me, interestingly enough, started at a very young age. I believe that by the time I was 7, I started to have a sense of self. First and foremost, the values that were instilled in us. Education is important. Empathy and compassion for other people is important. Respect for other people is important. Excellence is important. Being a community citizen is important. Discipline is important. So for my father, one of the things that he always said to us, with all the privilege that we have, was, what I want to be remembered for is for having raised good children who are good citizens and are not a burden to society. So thinking about leadership decisions and why I know distinctly that it happened for me at the age of 7, is I actually overheard 2 aunties who were both attending University of Zambia then, or is it called UNZA?
Unza, yeah.
And yeah, one of them was studying to be a doctor, and she understood the sacrifice that her parents had made. And I overhear these university students talking, and she says, it really, really, really bothers me that when I become a doctor, if I get married, my husband to be's family is going to count me as one of the learned or the doctors in their family. And people, especially at home at that time, ascribed a lot to being a doctor. Never mind a girl child had made it that far. So to this day, I never changed my last name. That's how much that conversation had an impact on me. I started making my decisions as me, as a young girl, as the woman I'm going to be at that very young age. I understood what it is that I wanted to become. That's another one of my blessings, is just being fortunate to have always had a good sense of being. So my leadership decision started very early. And I think the first leadership decision one ever made is that self-awareness. When you are aware of who you are, you start to know what it is that you want to be. You start to know what it is that you do not have and where you need to invest your efforts and time to be that person that you wanted to be. I always wanted to be somebody that counts in terms of the impact that I have on society. So I would say from that very early age, I knew I was confident. I learned to find my voice because I needed to advocate for ideas that were not necessarily common. My lens was, why is it that the women are not the same as the guys? Why is that? Which wasn't necessarily in my own home, so that's part of my privilege. You start seeing those anomalies, and you say, no, not that so. I learned very early what my identity would be, and that I needed to advocate for myself. Children don't usually have voice at that stage, but I already understood what I want to be. So self-awareness, the decision choice was I was going to be competent at whatever I chose to do. So education for me was the first leadership choice. And it was a long-term decision. It's a strategic decision. It's about setting goals and working towards those goals, knowing that step by step, there's something that you want to achieve for yourself, but also to have impact on others.
Amen. I think when you say education was a strategic choice, and starting at an early age where you overhear somebody saying something that you say, I don't think that's what's going to happen. It also sets you in a right direction. You already had that, but that actually sort of left a dent in you to ensure that whatever you're going to do, you're going to make a difference as a woman first, well, as an African woman, but also as a person who wants to achieve and leave a legacy behind them. I think we all need, and setting goals, as you said, you have to set your goals. You have to know, and you have to work for them. But I really applaud
you. You have to work for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your parents.
It's a long-term investment
Mhm.
even if you cannot see that result
Mhm.
in that instant.
Yeah,
But you'd say to yourself, I know what I want to be
correct.
when I grow up. I
Correct.
understand the privilege that I have, and I must transform that into something meaningful.
Correct.
Then I would have lived the life that I want to live.
A fulfilled life, yeah. So I see that you became very aware at an early age, and the values, the strengths, the identity that your parents gave you from early childhood actually paved your way to be where you are today. But I'm going to spin around and ask the different questions that you have both successes, you have some struggles that have shaped your leadership style that you have embarked on for a while. So, in what ways do you see these experiences? How have they influenced how you continue to empower yourself and others? Because you talked about having that influence, having to leave a legacy. So, how have these successes and struggles really enabled you to be a different leader, a leader that really counts in other people?
I'll start with the success part,
Yes.
because honestly, when you realize success, and we're not talking about grandiosity success, it could be as simple as solving math problems
Yes. Yes.
in elementary school, or chemistry, which was really challenging, and you say to yourself, I am not going to fail. I am going to work hard. You know, I was known for being so determined. I would cry and I would keep trying and trying and trying until I got it right.
Wonderful.
And you know, you get that eureka feeling that comes with success. And naturally, you know, people give you a pat on the back and whatever else. It's easy. It's part of what we strive for, yes, but success doesn't necessarily have to look like material or a formal title. It's sometimes small incremental wins that you fall back on when you now hit the struggles. You can remind yourself on, what is it that I fell back on in order to get that success that I had. So inevitably, of course, you're going to have struggles, but one of my strategies, just discipline. Just that discipline of knowing this is a must do. So I must structure myself. I must structure my day so that I give myself time to work on those things where I am not so strong or gifted, or that I feel I need to help me get towards my goal. So having that discipline is good when you hit challenges. Knowing the lessons that you've learned from both your successes and your failures will help you to find those stepping stones to set your trajectory back on the right path.
Yes.
You always have to also believe in yourself, to just trust yourself, to have that confidence that if I work for it, if I ask for help, people are always willing to help me.
Yeah.
So those are some of the lessons that I have used to deal with challenges when I've encountered them, is knowing that I have it within me, is believing in myself, but also knowing that others are there to hold me up, to show me up, to pave the way for me, to teach me what they know, to share their knowledge. I would say even their love and their compassion for humanity, to help me deal with those difficult situations. So it easily translates to a leadership strength if part of your leadership is, I want to make an impact. I want to look at the next generation, the next young girl child, the next person that asks me for help. It's it's in that spirit of do unto others as you want done unto you. So again, even from those challenging experiences, you can teach or engage with other people in ways that are productive and impactful, because you never know. You never know what your own voice, you're taking the time to be involved in what someone else is doing, is going to do for them. I know what other people's devotion and support in helping me through difficult times has done for me. And it is only logical that as I evolved, I would want to give back.
Amen.
And I see giving back as a leadership strength. It's part of your evolution as a leader, because we're not just leaders in our professional context. We are leaders every single day. You are a leader as a mother. You are a leader as a sibling. You are a leader without even knowing it, because there are people who look to you and see you as a role model, and you're not even aware of it.
Yes.
So it is very, very integral to be mindful of the talents that you have, maximize on the talents that you have, and recognize that leadership is with you in perpetuity, and it plays out in many different contexts.
Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that.
Very well said. Very well said.
Yes.
John Maxwell says, "Fail forward,"
Yes.
and I just crafted a new one from you.
Uh-huh.
You said succeed backwards. You hit those challenges, go back to your successes, and you can pull inspiration from there.
Yes.
And I like how you say the small successes, the small milestones, when you hit them, that is success as well. I like that. It's a good reminder, because sometimes we want to wait for the big result to feel like we're succeeding. But it's in those small steps that pull us forward, and we need to go back to them in those moments where we're challenged. So
Amen.
I like that.
Those small successes will help you to stay motivated and to continue to pursue your path.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because the big ones take time. I said the big successes take time. Yeah. So
they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Now,
I think we can end the conversation right here with this mark. No, I'm kidding.
I know.
It's really good.
Am I talking too much?
Oh no, you did it very well. That's why I said, and it really was good. You answered it so well, and you filled all the
just highlighting that we learn from both our successes and our struggles.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. No, it was good.
Now here's another angle which I'm highly interested in, and I'm sure our audience would be interested to hear your response on this. Do you think it's possible to be an impactful leader in a career you're not passionate about? How do you distinguish between passion and purpose? I think most of us immigrants or minorities have found ourselves, in careers we otherwise would not have chosen for several reasons. So I'm interested to hear if you can be impactful in a career you're not passionate about, and just distinguishing between passion and purpose.
For sure, passion and purpose are not the same thing.
Yeah.
But for me, they're intrinsically intertwined. Purpose, and if I might quote what Dad would say, is, you must live a life of purpose. So it's integral in me to live with purpose. And I think having purpose is what allows me to always think about what is it that I need within the context that I have. So I can be in a job where I can say, right now, what I need is an income to sustain myself and to pay for my education or to acquire certain skills or learning, whatever else. So it's serving a purpose. It's not the job that I want or I have, but it's serving the purpose that I need it to, because I've got that longer term vision in my mind. I've got this notion that I must have an impact. And I also have this notion that I must be bigger than what my parents were, because they gave me so much.
Yeah.
If they could give me so much, surely I should make the rewards of that so much the bigger. Not just for me as an individual, but for the collective. Where it becomes intrinsically passionate for me is I live a life of joy in every single moment. Out of any situation, I will try and find that joy. So as an illustration, I'm not necessarily in a job that I'm passionate about right now. You know, my mind is on other things like retirement and what I want to do with retirement and all the other things I've learned, and, you know, this more meaningful life that just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. You know, it is no end to good things that can happen or can motivate you. But what has been my passionate drive for the last little while is the next generation of leaders, the next generation of young Black people that look like me and look to me to help them pave the way forward. So in the job that I'm in now, I work alongside two very young, talented Black young ladies. I could swear more brilliant, more talented than anything I could ever have dreamt of. But they treated me with such respect. You know, when I'm struggling with technology, they say, "Are you okay there? Do you want us to come and help?" You know, like when they change the technology from one thing or the other thing, like they were really so warm towards me. What was different between myself and them is they had grown up here. They had experienced discrimination in a way that I did not. My parents experienced discrimination. I did not experience discrimination when I was living in Zambia. I grew up amongst a liberated people with a sense of identity and a purpose. I already knew that. Tiende pamoja. One Zambia, one nation. I already had that, right? I was already embodied in this big aspiration that our society would have. I didn't feel the negativity of colonialism in the same way that my parents did. Nobody ever told me to take a different bathroom or to go to the back of the line. I was already in line with everybody. So my passion has become about paving the way forward for the younger generation, sharing with them this sense of identity that I have, the confidence that I have about who I am, reminding them that their dignity is the most important thing.
Correct.
You have to have a boundary around which you say, this kind of treatment I will not accept.
Wonderful.
You have to know that there are opportunities out there that you're not being allowed to access.
Yeah.
How do you access them? And that's where I see myself having role. That is what I am passionate about, sharing with them what I have done to get to this level that I am at, so they can take it to the next level.
Amen.
I did two things. I enrolled myself in an executive leadership program as a way of almost consolidating all that I have learned over the course of time, but mostly because I want to understand what I need to empower the next generation. These two young ladies also caused me to take action around systemic discrimination. because I could see their gifts, and I thought, and then one day they're going to reach a stumbling block. They're not going to reach their potential. And they might come to me, even as a retired person, and say, when you encounter these kinds of systemic barriers, what did you do?
Mhm. Mhm.
This is the impact. This is the impact. This is now going to be my legacy as a civil servant, is to leave that federal service having made a difference to those who look like me, who've experienced barriers that I have experienced, and to empower them and to give them courage to take on those leadership roles. So I challenged my own organization and I said, no, we're experiencing systemic discrimination. These are the barriers. And it was a 6-year battle
Mhm.
that I won.
Amen.
Because I could see my young girls, my talented young girls who loved me to no end.
Mhm.
And I thought to myself, this is the legacy that I'm going to leave behind. I'm going to exercise that voice that I experienced when I was 7 years old. And I am going to be the mouthpiece for challenging systemic discrimination so they don't have to go through it. I am going to try and understand what those public service leadership competencies are so I can transmit them to these younger ladies. But I also had my own children in mind who've grown up as Black young men who've also experienced systemic discrimination, to lead by example, to show them that sometimes people say to me, you were courageous. It wasn't courage. It was my sense of dignity.
Mm.
That experience that I got as a child growing up in a liberated Zambia, I knew what my boundary was. And when certain lines were crossed, I'd already learned to use my voice.
Mm.
I'd already learned to take a long-term view and say, this is not who I'm about. This is not how my life is going to be defined, not by somebody else, but by me. And because others, I stand on the shoulders of others who sacrificed to give me this liberty to be able to challenge myself, to think globally, to think independence, to think I have a voice and I'm going to have an impact. I owe it to the next generation. So many, many avenues are opening up for me. You know, I talk to my young people. I will say they held me up through it. They were my guiding light. I am doing this so that their future does not have to encounter these things. I am doing this so they have a voice, so they feel empowered to achieve their dreams on their terms. So the executive leadership program I'm in is struck purely for Black leaders and led by Black leaders.
Wonderful.
We have a safe space to learn leadership and to understand what it is that we need to give to the next generation.
Amen.
It's an empowering story to be able to say to them, we can challenge systemic discrimination and still come out on top.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
So passion and purpose for me are intertwined. They're not the same thing. Passion is what invokes you emotionally. Purpose leads you to the impact, the legacy that you want to leave behind. And I'm in that life stage in a very positive mindset.
Wonderful.
I could leave the federal service today and know that I've already made an impact.
An impact.
And my passion, I carry with me all the time.
Amen.
All the time. And it comes with joy. You don't forget joy and gratitude.
Joy.
All of that.
Amen.
Thank you for
I
sharing
think-
your story.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you. Yes.
You know,
good
and-
illustration.
Oh,
there.
perfect.
Mhm.
Powerful. And one other thing you say, identity. You mentioned identity.
Is what?
Identity. Know yourself. and you knew yourself when you're a child and you continue to use yourself, you have addressed many of the questions that we have. So many of them you just packed it because your story illustrated your challenges. Your story illustrated how your challenges has enabled you to actually be able to take on one of the most difficult issue that you had to address so that you can leave a better place for others, so that you can pave the way for others as well.
Yes.
Those minorities are so lucky to have you.
Yes. I want to make another point around knowing yourself,
Mhm.
because it was a very, very difficult journey.
Mhm.
And at some point, I said to myself, why aren't you letting it go?
Yeah.
You know, there are many people have gone through this kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I guess for me, the background that I had, I couldn't let it go. There was determination.
Mhm.
But at some point, people will tell lies about you.
Of course.
You know, this angry Black woman or whatever else. I knew I wasn't an angry Black woman. I knew I was an empathetic leader.
Mhm.
And when we were getting ready to go through the human rights process, everybody I've ever worked with
Mhm.
did not stand on the side of management, regardless of the color of their skin. So
Wonderful.
there are good people and there are people who have integrity. And you know what I rely on to be an empathetic leader is our cultural values as Africans. We never leave a child behind.
No.
We meet them where they are and we help them to grow.
Yeah.
So for anybody I worked with, regardless of your background, your gender, your age, I always challenge myself, what can I do to help them grow? Because they're taking my reputation, our reputation, into whatever else is their life, their family lives, their professional contexts. I don't want them to look back and say or associate us with negative things. But because I knew who I was, the negative things, whilst they hurt, did not get me down. Because I could clearly say, this is not true. This is not true about me because that is not who I am.
Wonderful.
So it's very, very, very important to keep reminding yourself who you are. You will evolve, but you have to keep reminding yourself who you are and what are your trade-offs. But you should never, ever compromise on your values and what you believe to uphold. Don't give up on integrity.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
give up on integrity, you lose everything.
And
Don't give up on competency. You give up on competency and
Yes.
they will be able to sacrifice you.
Of course.
That knowledge that you have, transform it into something that will always make you feel, I did what I could do, and you cannot critique me on what I have done or not done. You cannot make up lies about me. So it helped me to stay afloat, knowing that what they're saying about me is not true.
It's not true.
Because I knew what was true about me. And because there are people with integrity, they stood with me and allowed it. That's what helped us to have success.
Wonderful.
Because you can't be insisting that, you know, she does mean things to her employees. And the employees come and say, no, actually, the person that transformed my career is
It's
Valeria.
this person.
She took the time to help me write a resume. She took the time to make me understand what competencies I still needed to work on. They called me a perfectionist, yes. But I call that excellence. I call that being competent. I didn't want to leave room for people to come back and say, well, you are short on this. I was thorough in how I did my work. And today, when I get that kind of feedback, I'm like, hey, if it helped you get to where you needed to get to, it's
Amen.
all good.
Wonderful.
But my children also see it.
It's practice at home.
You can, yes, you can build on the values that your family gives you. You can extend and involve others into your relationships and make a difference. That is what gives you a life of purpose,
Yes.
and allows you to counteract some of the systemic barriers that we experience because they cannot poke holes into what you do or who you are.
Yeah, I think I hear you. I hear you. But thank you so much for thoroughly describing and giving one examples, putting yourself on this, just giving the situation that you've gone through and how you have used this situation to continue to empower yourself so that you can continue to uplift others. Like you lift as you rise, right? And that's what you
Yeah,
that's what leadership is all
uplifting
about.
as you lead.
That's the leadership that we need in the people, not the leadership where it's about me. And I think in the beginning also you talked about the question you said, and which comes again and again to identity. Who are you? Because you looked yourself in the mirror. Who am I? I am that child at 7-year-old who thought of purpose, who thought of identity, who thought of being aware of what I'm going to be. And that little girl still beckons you to do what is right. That little girl still stands in front of you and says, hey, you promised. Are you going to continue? And thank you for all you do. You know, you have really given us so many nuggets, so many wonderful things that I hope our listeners will hear this. But, you know, time is not always with us. I'm going to ask one question, and Ninonya will have another question to close in before we close. This topic, I think we have...
Can I just interject?
Go ahead.
Sorry, Chibo, for
Go ahead.
one more thing.
Go ahead.
Because there is this desire to uplift others, but I maybe have not emphasized enough how others uplifted me.
Yes.
Especially when I was going through this particular crisis. So there's two aspects. It's others, and there's a notion of spirituality.
Yes. Yes.
Because some of the things that lined up for me were unimaginable.
Wonderful.
Unimaginable. So those two young ladies observing that and thinking, oh, how am I going to answer them? How am I going to answer my children? Gave me purpose. That was the vision. You know, I could just envision what would their future look like. But one of them worked in human resources. And I was able to brainstorm with her, you know, how, I told you they were very bright. How do we navigate these kinds of things? She gave me some incredible insights for such a young mind. I swear, I think she was 23. Then I worked through the union, wanting to, you know, these are the issues that I'm experiencing. Oh, they turned me away like you wouldn't believe. That day was one of those challenges that you experience and you say, do I give up or do I continue? And I chose to continue because they said, we know you're kind. We've seen this before. They come and say, I'm experiencing discrimination, da-da-da. When you try to prove it, they can't prove it. Well, this lady had proof beyond proof. Proof.
She had written down everything.
Yes. Integrity is important.
Yeah.
With truth must come proof if you are going to challenge people on systemic discrimination.
Yes.
Stay away from calling them racist.
Yes.
Pinpoint the barriers and say to yourself, I will speak truth and I will prove it. I will be able to substantiate it. When you convince yourself that you can substantiate it, you know it's real. So again, they cannot derail you because it is real and you can prove it. So I spent a lot of time documenting. The union sends me away. I kept all that documentation. I went to the Human Rights Commission, long, laborious process. My lawyer was surprised that I got things that far. I don't know why I wouldn't give up, but integrity, my sense of dignity was wounded. And I was not going to leave without restoring my sense of dignity and using my voice in that context. So when the union wrote to me, I thought, I need a lawyer now. I approached another colleague, gave me his lawyer. The lawyer that I contacted, he was actually retiring the following month and says, I got the right person for you. Black lawyer from Ghana, who had worked for one of the public service unions and had just left his job 3 months earlier on account of discrimination.
Whoa.
So I talked to him and he said, what? I said, this is what the union said. He says, let me take a look at it. So we were able to pin the union for having failed to represent me, because they were obligated to represent me, and not to say, if we don't think you're going to be successful, we don't bother with
You can't,
whether
you
we're
can't,
going to sue or not.
and that's not the way I think you pay your dues, and they are supposed to look at the case without saying
They declined to represent me. But look at that lining up of things. Then we have these anti-black things happening in the US, and here in Canada, policies are changing. The timing of that
was
really
tough.
changed things for us. Yeah. So when you're going through these processes, you have, it's a lot of work. You have to go, you get the you have like witnesses who are maybe people who would have been in the work context, but you also have expert witnesses. We were going to court last year, May, and in November, a lady called Dr. Zellers publishes a report on systemic discrimination against Black women in the federal public service. That was bang on what I'd criticized my organization for.
Wow.
And she agreed to be one of the expert witnesses. Again,
Yes.
another
Nice.
lining up. And to me, I attribute that to spirituality,
God was
to giving, to giving to others who are then willing to give time
give to you.
find those right people for you and to hold you up. They were uplifting me.
Yeah.
Remember my lawyer saying, it is on those days when you cannot carry the burden that we carry the burden for you.
Oh,
so that is uplifting, right?
Yeah.
So it's not one-sided.
It's
and you should never. And spirituality has something to do with it.
Amen.
Spirituality has something to do with something beyond yourself.
Amen. Yeah,
has something to do with it.
Yes,
it's not just your own individual strength or perseverance. It's the others who lift you up in something bigger than us.
Wonderful. You know what you have to realize is you are placed in a position for a purpose. And personally, I say, my Lord will not allow you to go that far if he didn't know that you can stomach it, because the stresses that you go through, the stresses that your family go through during the course of this event, 6 years, is a lot. But you had the ability, and there is no other person that may have had to address this, to leave the space better for the upcoming ones, to give back. And you are given by having all those people coming to support you, to surround you. As you said, it didn't matter the culture, the what, they all were, they have the integrity. And I think once you have integrity, you can say anything because you know you're speaking the truth. And truth has a way of coming out and helping somebody to win. Yeah. I think the time is running with us. I think you have to go to the last question, my friend. Which question do you have? We'll need to call you because this topic, I think you've just scratched the surface. There's more to it. And there's more.
There's more to it.
You actually answered the last question that I had with your last illustration. So thank you very much for that. If I could ask one more right now would be, how do you find joy? How do you find purpose? If you had to speak to someone who's maybe in a toxic environment and their first instinct is to give up, is to leave, how do you find joy, purpose, and determination in some difficult spaces?
I think the first thing is step back reflect. Remind yourself who you are, what's important to you. Remind yourself that people care. If you reach out for help, people will always help you. And there are people who will hold you up all the way. You have to believe in yourself and to trust the relationships that you have built over the course of time. People will not let you down. And I promise you, Africans will not let you down.
Wonderful.
We don't do that.
Amen. Amen.
How do I find joy? I'm having a little bit of a problem with joy right now.
It's too much. That's a good problem.
It's a good problem to have. But you find joy in this. Every single day, there's something that happens that gives you joy. If you know your talents and the things that excite you, I'm sure every single day you'll find joy. So for me, this time of the year, the joy comes from gardening.
Wonderful.
Watching a seedling grow.
I didn't know that there's an agriculture in you.
Enough to carry me for the whole day.
Wonderful.
Helping somebody pack, and you're interacting, you're sharing. They're in a difficult time in their circumstances, but you're reminding them that you're present. You will be there for them. It actually happened yesterday. It happens to be a personal thing, so I can't talk about their details. But I went to help out with the packing. This family illness, there's lots of complicated that. If you give, you will find joy.
Nice.
And every day is unique.
There is something.
Every day.
Even in the middle of a prayer, there is joy.
There is joy.
If you listen to a prayer carefully, you will find joy in that prayer.
Amen. Amen.
It's widespread.
Yeah, it is. It is. Oh, wonderful, Valeria. I think our audience have got the information that they need to stay strong and to listen. I hope they can listen to this and hear it more and more, because the information that you shared with us is so impactful. I think the information allows us to ask ourselves, who are we? Or who am I?
Know thyself.
Know thyself.
Would be my last word.
Amen.
Know thyself.
Amen.
It will get you through a lot.
Amen. Amen. And as leaders, I think leadership, the choice, whatever choice you have, as you said, leadership is not just in the work that we do. Leadership is in being a parent, being a co-worker, being a friend. In whatever you're doing, you have the leadership opportunity and exercise them. And when you know yourself, know your value, I think you can extend it to other people, and other people extend it to you. Yes.
100%.
So thank you so much.
You have put it in wonderfully concise words.
Thank you. We've come to the end of this podcast, but not the end of the journey or the end of our guest, because I would like to see you again on this podcast, because we have more to talk about. Because I just learned that you're a gardener. So next time we'll talk about gardening. Yes. Remember what he said. Your career is more than your destination. It is a declaration. And you see how our guest, our honored guest, used her career to shape where she is so that others can walk through that. A declaration that actually you can see shows the values, shows the integrity, show courage, and show the leadership that we need in our leaders. Not leadership for self-development only, but leadership to leave something that will always empower, uplift others as you are uplifted as a person. And for you today, continue to choose intentionally decisions that you make to save and to be saved. Because the path you choose in shaping your leadership career and to become the leader allows you to be the leader of the world that is awaiting for you in front of you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us today. What a wonderful session. To our audience, leadership is not something you step into one day. We've learned today. It is something you grow into decision by decision, day by day. We heard today to find joy in everything that we do day by day. We've learned about lifting others and allowing others to lift us as well. Your career is one of the most powerful decisions you will ever make. So ask yourself, what is your career saying about you? We look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you for joining us on this journey to elevate and inspire. Until next time, lead